I had spent 26 years imagining my son's wedding. I imagined his smile. I imagined his first dance. I imagined myself crying when he saw his bride walking down the aisle. But I never imagined that the most dangerous man in the city would ask me to dance. My name is Elena Carter, and at 48, I had already learned that life rarely followed the plans we made for it. I was a single mother. My son, Daniel, was the most important person in my life. I had raised him alone after his father walked away when Daniel was only 3. I worked 2 jobs. I cleaned offices during the day and managed a small bakery in the evenings. I never had much money, but I had given Daniel everything I could. And now he was getting married. The wedding was being held at one of the most luxurious hotels in the city. Everything was beautiful. White flowers. Golden lights. A huge crystal chandelier. An orchestra playing softly in the corner. Daniel looked happier than I had ever seen him. His bride, Claire, was beautiful and kind. I watched them dance together and wiped away a tear. Then I noticed someone standing near the entrance. A tall man in a perfectly tailored black suit. He wasn't smiling. People seemed to move aside whenever he walked. His name was Victor Romano. Everyone in the city knew him. He was a businessman to the public. But behind closed doors, people whispered a different name. The Mafia boss. And tonight, he was watching me. I had no idea why Victor Romano had been invited. Daniel had never mentioned him. I looked toward my son. Daniel was speaking with Claire's father. Victor stood several meters away, completely alone. Then his eyes met mine. I quickly looked away. I didn't want trouble. Especially not at my son's wedding. A few minutes later, Daniel came toward me. "Mom, are you okay?" I smiled. "I'm perfect." "You're crying." "I'm allowed to cry at my son's wedding." He laughed. Then I asked quietly, "Daniel, why is Victor Romano here?" His smile disappeared for a moment. "You know him?" "Everyone knows him." Daniel glanced toward Victor. "He's a friend of Claire's family." I nodded. That seemed strange. Very strange. Then Daniel added, "Don't worry about him, Mom." I smiled. I wasn't worried. But I was. Because Victor wasn't looking at anyone else. He was looking at me. I went outside to get some fresh air. The ballroom was warm and crowded. I stood near the terrace, watching the city lights. Beautiful evening. I turned. Victor was standing behind me. My heart jumped. Yes. He stepped beside me. "You're Daniel's mother." I nodded. "And you're Victor Romano. I suppose we don't need introductions." I almost smiled. "No." He looked toward the ballroom. "Your son looks happy." "He is." "You raised him well." That surprised me. "How do you know?" "I've been watching him." I looked at him suspiciously. "For what reason?" Victor was silent. Then he said, "Because Daniel once helped someone I care about." "Who?" He looked at me. "My younger sister." I remembered something. Years ago, Daniel had told me about helping an injured woman outside the university. Could that have been her? Victor nodded as if he had read my thoughts. He didn't know who she was. "And you remembered him?" "I remember people who show kindness when they have nothing to gain." His voice softened. Then he looked at me. "And apparently, he learned that from you." I didn't know what to say. Later that evening, Daniel approached Victor. They shook hands. I watched them carefully. There was something between them. Something I didn't understand. When Daniel returned, I asked, "Is everything okay?" "Yes." "You seem nervous." He hesitated. "Mom, there's something I should have told you." "What?" Victor helped me when I was starting my company. I stared at him. What kind of help? A loan. How much? Daniel looked away. Enough. My stomach tightened. Daniel. I paid him back. Then why didn't you tell me? Because I knew you'd worry. I sighed. I am your mother. Worrying is my job. He smiled. I know. Then he hugged me. But as he walked away, I noticed Victor watching us. His expression was unreadable. During dinner, Claire's aunt approached me. She was wealthy, elegant, and clearly didn't approve of me. You're Daniel's mother? Yes. I heard you raised him alone. I did. She smiled politely. That must have been difficult. It was. She looked at my simple dress. You know, weddings like this can be uncomfortable for people who aren't used to this lifestyle. I understood the insult. I'll survive. She smiled. I hope so. Before I could respond, Victor appeared. Mrs. Carter. The woman's expression changed immediately. Mr. Romano. Victor looked at her. Is there a problem? No. Good. He turned toward me. Would you like some fresh air? I stared at him. I'm fine. He nodded. Then I'll stay here. The aunt quickly walked away. I looked at Victor. You didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. Why? His eyes remained on the woman who had walked away. Because some people need reminding that money doesn't make them important. I smiled. That's surprisingly noble for a mafia boss. He laughed quietly. You're not afraid of me. I should be? Most people are. I'm more afraid of embarrassing myself at my son's wedding. He smiled. And for the first time I saw the man behind the reputation. The orchestra began playing a slow song. Daniel and Claire walked onto the dance floor. Everyone applauded. I watched them with tears in my eyes. Then Claire's father danced with her mother. Other couples followed. I remained at my table. I wasn't expecting anyone to ask me. Then Victor appeared. He stood in front of me. May I? I looked up. May you what? His hand extended toward me. Dance. I thought he was joking. You want to dance with me? Yes. At my son's wedding? Yes. I laughed nervously. Mr. Romano, people are going to talk. They already do. I looked around. Everyone was watching. My heart raced. You're serious? Very. I placed my hand in his. He helped me stand. And the mafia boss walked onto the dance floor with me. The music continued. Victor placed one hand gently at my back. I was nervous. You're shaking, he whispered. Because everyone is staring. Let them. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. He looked into my eyes. People stare at things they don't understand. I smiled. You're surprisingly philosophical. Only around you. I almost missed a step. He caught me. Careful. This is embarrassing. No. His voice became serious. It's beautiful. I looked at him. Why was this powerful man speaking to me like that? I was just Elena. A woman who had spent her entire life working. A woman who had never worn designer clothes. A woman who had never belonged in rooms like this. Yet Victor looked at me as if I belonged exactly where I stood. After the dance, Victor led me toward a quiet corner. I need to tell you something. What? He took a breath. I didn't come here only because of Daniel. I waited. I came because of you. My heart stopped. Me? Yes. But why? He looked away for a moment. 3 years ago, I met you. I frowned. I don't remember. You wouldn't. Where? At your bakery. I suddenly remembered. A quiet man had come in late one evening. He had ordered coffee. He had sat alone. He had left a generous tip. That was him? You were there? Yes. Why didn't you tell me? Because I wasn't ready. For what? To admit that I was interested in a woman who had no reason to trust a man like me. I couldn't speak. Victor told me he had visited my bakery dozens of times. You always came alone, I said. Yes. And I never recognized you? You were busy. I remember customers. You remembered my coffee. I smiled. You ordered the same thing every time. He laughed. I wanted an excuse to come back. I stared at him. You're serious. I am. Victor, I'm not 25. I know. I have a son your men could probably arrest for being too protective. He smiled. I know. I've been alone for years. I know. Then why me? His expression softened. Because you're kind without being weak. He paused. You survived things that would have destroyed most people. My eyes filled with tears. And because when you smile, you make people forget how dark the world can be. I looked away. Nobody had ever spoken to me like that. Before I could respond, Daniel came running toward us. Victor. Victor immediately became serious. What happened? Someone tried to enter through the service entrance. Victor's men appeared within seconds. Claire joined us. What is happening? Victor looked at Daniel. Get everyone inside. Daniel nodded. I felt fear rising. Victor? He looked at me. Stay with Claire. What's happening? Someone wants to send me a message. I grabbed his arm. Be careful. He looked down at my hand. Then at me. I will. He walked away. I watched him disappear through the doors. For the first time I understood something. His world wasn't romantic. It was dangerous. And somehow, I had become important enough for that danger to reach my son's wedding. The security team caught one of the intruders. Victor questioned him privately. The man eventually revealed the truth. A rival criminal organization had discovered that Victor planned to leave the criminal world. They wanted to stop him. And they had learned about the people he cared about. Including Elena. Victor's expression became cold. Who gave you her name? The man refused to answer. Victor leaned closer. You don't need to fear me. He paused. You need to fear what happens when someone hurts innocent people because of me. Meanwhile, I sat with Daniel. Mom, he whispered. What? You need to know something. What? Victor is trying to get out. Out of what? Everything. He looked toward the door. He wants a normal life. I didn't know why those words affected me so deeply. Victor returned later that night. He looked exhausted. I stood. Is it over? For tonight. He sat beside me. I owe you an apology. For what? For bringing danger into your life. You didn't. Yes, I did. I shook my head. You came to my son's wedding. Because I wanted to see you. I stared at him. He continued. I know this is sudden. Very. I know my reputation scares you. A little. He smiled. I want to change my life. For Daniel? For myself. He looked at me. And for you. My heart beat faster. I don't know if I can be part of your world. You don't have to be. What do you mean? I want to build a different world. The wedding ended beautifully. Daniel and Claire left for their honeymoon. I returned home the next morning. I expected everything to feel normal. It didn't. A black car was parked outside my bakery. Victor stepped out. "You're early." I couldn't sleep. "Why?" He looked at me. "Because I kept thinking about whether you'd say yes." "To what?" "To seeing me again." I smiled. "You could have called." "I wanted to ask in person." I opened the bakery door. "Coffee?" His face brightened. "Please." I laughed. The famous Mafia boss asking me for coffee. I have simple tastes. "You once spent more on a watch than my entire bakery." "That doesn't mean I know how to make coffee." I smiled. "Come inside." And he did. Over the following months, Victor kept his promise. He sold several businesses connected to his criminal empire. He handed control of illegal operations to trusted intermediaries and began focusing on legitimate investments. People called him crazy. Some called him weak. He didn't care. Every Friday evening, he came to the bakery. Sometimes he brought flowers. Sometimes he brought nothing. He simply wanted to sit with me. One evening, I asked, "Do you miss your old life?" He thought about it. "Sometimes." "Then why leave it?" He looked at me. "Because power is worthless if you have nobody to come home to." I smiled. That's a dangerous thing for a mafia boss to admit. I'm not trying to be a mafia boss anymore. What are you trying to be? He reached across the table. Your man. I worried about Daniel. He was my son. His opinion mattered. One afternoon, I finally told him. Victor asked me to be with him. Daniel stared at me. Then he smiled. Finally. I blinked. Finally? Mom, he has been staring at you for years. I laughed. You knew? Everyone knew. I didn't. You were the only one. I shook my head. Do you approve? Daniel became serious. If he makes you happy, yes. And if he hurts me? Daniel smiled. Then I'll remind him that I'm your son. I laughed. I think he'd be terrified. He should be. 6 months after Daniel's wedding, Victor took me to the same ballroom. It was empty. No guests. No orchestra. No photographers. Just us. I looked around. Why are we here? He extended his hand. Because I owe you another dance. I smiled. The first one changed everything. I know. He pulled me gently into his arms. The music began. This time, I wasn't nervous. I wasn't worried about people staring. I wasn't wondering what anyone thought. I simply danced. Victor whispered. Do you remember how frightened you were? Yes. And now? I smiled. Now I'm only afraid you'll step on my foot. After the song ended, Victor didn't let go of my hand. He reached into his pocket. My heart stopped. Victor. I know this isn't the traditional way. He opened a small box. Inside was a simple diamond ring. I don't want to replace Daniel's wedding day. He smiled. I want to create our own. Tears filled my eyes. You're asking me to marry you? Yes. I laughed through my tears. The mafia boss wants to marry a bakery owner? He smiled. No. He took my hand. A man who loves a woman wants to marry her. I whispered. Yes. Our wedding was small. No mafia families. No political figures. No dangerous men. Just family and friends. Daniel stood beside me. Claire helped with my dress. And Victor waited at the end of the aisle. When I reached him, he whispered. You look beautiful. I smiled. I feel beautiful. His eyes softened. That is all I ever wanted. After the ceremony, Daniel gave a speech. He raised his glass. To my mother. Everyone applauded. Then he looked at Victor. And to the man who finally taught her that she deserves to be loved too. Victor smiled. I cried. He laughed. Years passed. Victor never returned to his old life. He became a successful businessman. I expanded the bakery into 3 locations. Daniel and Claire had children. Our family grew. Sometimes people still whispered about Victor's past. But he no longer cared. One evening, we sat together at a family dinner. Victor looked around the table. Children laughing. Daniel arguing with Claire about dessert. My bakery's famous cake sitting in the center. He squeezed my hand. What? He smiled. Nothing. You're staring. I never thought I'd have this. I leaned closer. Neither did I. He kissed my hand. Best decision I ever made. Years later, I sometimes thought about that night. My son's wedding. The ballroom. The music. The man everyone feared. And the moment he extended his hand toward me. May I have this dance? At the time, I thought it was simply a strange moment at my son's wedding. I didn't know Victor had been watching me for years. I didn't know he had remembered my kindness. I didn't know he had fallen in love with the woman I thought nobody noticed. And I certainly didn't know that one dance would change both our lives. People often think love arrives loudly. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it arrives quietly. In a bakery. Across a crowded ballroom. In the form of a hand extended toward you. And sometimes the most unexpected person becomes the person who sees you more clearly than anyone else. Victor had once been known as the most dangerous man in the city. But to me, he became something completely different. My husband. My best friend. The man who held my hand when life became difficult. And the man who, years after our first dance, still asked me the same question every time music began playing. He would smile. Extend his hand. And say, Elena, may I have this dance? And every single time I said yes.